In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to properly disassemble, maintain, and reassemble your M4-22 magazine. First, going to start off with the disassembly of the magazine, and then I'm going to go over some of the tools that we use to clean our magazine here. All right. First, we're going to push down on our slide cover button, and we're going to remove our dust cover completely from the magazine. From there, we have this bottom plate. We'll go ahead and remove that bottom plate to the dust cover. And we'll set these kind of off to the side for now. From there, we're going to tip our magazine upside down. We have this button on the bottom here that we're going to push in, and we're going to remove this bottom plate here while kind of maintaining pressure on that button because it is spring loaded. So you do want to be careful here while you're disassembling it. It's not under a whole lot of pressure, but you still want to be careful. Okay. And then you can kind of see our spring come out here. So that's that button, our spring, and then we also have our follower. Alright, I'll set this down. From there, there's nothing else left inside that magazine. I mean, you can see kind of straight through it. Why would you ever want to take your magazine apart? Well, it's pretty important to keep your magazine pretty clean. We all know that 22, just any 22 in general, gets pretty dirty and fouled up. So we want to ensure that the rifle runs good. So you do also want to maintain your magazines as well. You know, you want to make sure that you clean out any kind of carbon, little pieces of brass particulate or lead or waxy buildup. Some of these rounds, they have, you know, a little waxy tip on the lead. So you want to make sure that you kind of keep this free and clear. I mean, you put a lot of rounds through your rifle, you want to make sure that you definitely maintain this, and it's going to help increase the reliability of your rifle and also the magazine and how it loads. All right. Some of the tools that we use here, just your standard toothbrush. We have a couple different bottle brushes here, and I'll show you how we use those. Cleaner. This is a particular cleaner that we like to use. Works really well for us. So just any gun cleaner will work just fine. And I will also, when we go to reassemble, I will show you what we use this silicone spray here for. So we're first going to start off with our small bottle brush here. And you can literally just run this through the bottom of the magazine and go all the way through. Get that real clean, that channel real clean there where the follower goes back and forth. Knock out any kind of waxy residue or you know, brass particulates, so on and so forth. Our follower here, same thing. You'll notice on the follower, especially, you'll get like this little waxy streak, especially with some of the ammunition out there. They put a little waxy residue, waxy coating on the tip of the bullet, and you'll get a little waxy buildup here. You can usually just go through, scrape it off with your nail, or use some kind of scraper to get that off. You just want to make sure that you're not damaging that ramp there. All right. You could also just go through and just kind of clean it up with your toothbrush really well. And you also want to make sure that the front face of this is nice and clean as well. Just like so. Reinsert your spring. You can then put your follower back into the magazine and just kind of slide it all the way up to the top. There's not really any maintenance on this button. You do want to make sure that you get it orientated correctly. You can see there's kind of like this oval shape, and that will engage with the spring. And you can see it's directional here. So the round portion will go towards the back of the magazine, and then you kind of have this, I don't know, it's almost like a flared bottom. All right. Your bottom plate will kind of slide right on there, just like that. And then you're just going to kind of drag your finger and get that spring and the guide back into the bottom of there, just like that. All right. From there, you can just go over the exterior, make sure it's nice and clean. There's no dirt, debris, powder residue, fouling. Just wipe that off with a cleaning cloth. And then the dust cover, it's what's going to prevent dirt, debris from getting in the magazine. You also want to make sure that's nice and clean. We have this larger bottle brush here that we like to use, and it literally will clean out the entire dust cover area. Now, one thing that I will mention when we go through and reassemble, and even when we put these together brand new at the factory, we do like to use this silicone spray on the inside of the dust cover here. And you just give it a little fine mist. It's not necessary, but it does make it nice. I mean, especially when you're going to remove your dust cover or just slide it down when it comes to loading. All right. Actually, before I put that back on, I want to put our bottom plate back on there just like that. And we'll slide that back into place like so. And you also want to make sure that this area is pretty clean too. I mean, I know I mainly focused on the follower, but you do get a lot of waxy buildup here or carbon deposit here because it's closest to the barrel and the bolt system. And you get a lot of blowback gases, if you will, that will throw a little bit of carbon on that area. So once again, you can use a little bit of your cleaner here and you kind of spritz that down and just kind of hit that with your toothbrush and make sure that that's nice and clean. And just to check to make sure that everything's functioning correctly, you can grab the follower and you can pull that all the way down, slide it back and forth, make sure it moves nice and freely. Obviously, it's going to have quite a bit of pressure once you get towards the bottom because that spring's being completely collapsed there. But just make sure that it moves freely. If it feels gritty, yeah, obviously you didn't get it clean enough. But it should slide nice and smooth. And you can just go ahead and put that dust cover back up to where it's supposed to be. And that's the basic disassembly, reassembly, and cleaning process of the M4-22 magazine.